Good afternoon and welcome to the Greater Leesburg CRA City Commission meeting at 5:05. We'll call the meeting to order. If you would stand for the invocation and the pledge. Dear Heavenly Father, we come to you this evening. Give us the best wisdom to make the best decisions on behalf of the city of Leesburg. In your precious name, amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Move to the approval of the minutes for the September 12th, 2024 meeting. We need approval. We have approval. And we have a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Ponder?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Burry?
Yes.
Chairperson Reisman?
Yes. Would someone please introduce 3A?
Introduced, has to be read by title only.
Resolution of the Greater Leesburg Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing the chairman and secretary to execute a resolution approving fiscal year 2025 facade, sign, and landscape grant awards and providing an effective date.
Move for approval, please.
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
I do have a few things.
Yes, sir.
On the Napa application, we only require one bid?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Really? We're going to give away taxpayer money based on one bid from a contractor out of Louisiana?
So that was my comments as well. Commissioner Connell's, the sign builder is out of state, so.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe we don't require several bids to make sure before we give money away.
Yeah, we haven't asked for that in the past. That was the policy. You can amend the policy or whatever y'all want to do.
I'd like to get multiple bids before we start giving money away.
What is the average bid? 2 or 3 that you normally do? Or did you not ever?
Is Rob back there? It's up to 25. Do you know what the $25,000 is? I think at that stage it's still quotes. Up to 3.
Yeah, this is one of the larger ones. A lot of them have been smaller, so it hasn't been as big of an issue. A lot of $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 contracts. I think this one, I forget the numbers, 19. Maybe if we do that, I'd at least chime in and say do it on larger amounts. I mean, I don't want people having to bid out, I don't know, I'm just thinking like 10,000 and under, 5,000.
I can't remember what this one, how much was this one for?
I think it's a total of like 34,000.
Yeah, that's above the requirement. I think that's high.
I didn't like that it was an out-of-state contractor we're giving money. I would prefer to see at least a Leesburg or even just a Lake County business be able to bid on this, so
Yeah, it's just, I think we should be getting more than one bid on before we start giving money away.
Hey, Rob, what's the internal policy for expenditure that's $19,251? Is that 3 verbal quotes?
It would be written quotes.
Written quotes, not an RFP.
But not solicitation.
So that's the internal policy for $19,000 for the city spending is 3 quotes.
Do we have 3?
Not on this program. So that's what I'm saying. If you guys want to amend it, we have given out, as you know, several FSL grants without the quotes. So if you want to add the quotes, we can certainly do that.
I would like to see multiple quotes myself.
I would support this one, but then I would support amending the policy after that. I mean, I don't really want to blindside this applicant, but I will agree with it going forward. I mean, I'm not saying I've made up my mind yet. That's just what I'm thinking out loud.
Is it because it's a corporation and they have to get their signs from corporate? Maybe that's the issue.
I think the issue was we wanted to make it as easy as possible for businesses to improve their facades, which helps the city. So we tried to make it business friendly. It's never been an issue until this evening. If you all want to change it, got no issue doing that. Just give us that direction and we'll move there.
We've got multiple sign contractors in town and in many of them in Lake County. I don't know, it's like me, they just went straight to probably Napa, who deals with their signs, and probably didn't even elicit any other quotes.
This was submitted in October, correct? October 18th, yeah. For Napa Auto. And Mystic Ice, I think, was after that. But, okay, that's,
Since both these items are in the same resolution, I'll go ahead and talk. Any other discussion on Napa? I have some questions on Mystic.
So do I.
Would you like to go ahead, sir?
Yeah, it appears to be on the rendering, it's a mural. Didn't we put a board together to review murals?
We did, and I had a conversation with Amanda McClue about that. She saw the mural in a private, well, no meeting is private, but I had a meeting with Amanda last week. She was okay with the concept, but no, staff failed to get it to the art committee.
Okay, well, I mean.
So we can restart that one over as well and make sure it gets to the art committee, but we didn't think that one was going to be of significant concern for the commission. But we can certainly go back that way.
I mean, it's a mural on the side of a building, and so we had decided all murals would go in front of the art board prior to coming to us for their review and recommendations, so.
I had those same comments, Commissioner Cannell. As much as I'm very pro art, we have a board in place, and we shouldn't be bypassing this, and I'm sure it was just an oversight.
Sure, oh, yeah.
But I would like to see if we could table both items and send it back to the applicants to go before the board, the Public Arts Advisory Board, and then the Napa, see if they can get at least a local quote. I don't know what your guys' thoughts are on that.
I'd be good with that.
That sounds good.
I mean, I'd prefer to just let this one go on through. I'm sure we put them to a lot of work, but I'm okay with that. I'm not going to vote against it.
Can we get a motion?
A motion to allow what?
You want a motion to table?
Oh, okay, just a motion to table. How long?
Indefinite.
Doesn't matter,
We'll bring
okay.
it back to you when it's ready.
Sorry about that. Motion to table.
We have a motion?
Second.
Second. Any discussion on the motion?
um,
Yes, ma'am.
what was the distance? Just whenever?
Indefinite, and staff will bring it
okay.
back to us once they get with the applicants. No discussion? Roll call?
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Excuse me. Commissioner Ponder?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Bury?
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Chairperson Reason.
Yes. Roll call?
Commissioner Peterson?
Nothing tonight, other than, do we want to talk about the limit right there? What we just, Jay just brought up this one here. We talked about a limit on it, like over, is it 19,000? We want to mirror the city at 19 or put it at
No,
25?
you're talking two different, the limit on the FSL grant is 25,000.
Correct.
But the approval for 3 bids is 19,000 and up.
No, your direction to me is 0 to 25,000 in this grant program, you want 3 bids.
Yeah, I would think so.
Okay, so
Anytime
if
we
you
get
got a
like
$1,000 sign, you want 3 bids.
Three
If you
bids
got a
on
there.
$25,000
So
sign,
is
you
there
would-
3 local sign companies that we can, going to be able to get bids from? If you're just a local business, are there three sign companies in Leesburg that you can get bids from?
Yes.
Or is there 2?
There's 2 I know of.
Mid-Florida
Right.
signs, sign
Mid-Florida and sign
crafters.
crafters.
Right,
Is-
but who else?
Is Barry not business?
Barry.
Jay Barry? He used to be down South Street. I mean, I don't even care if they're from Leesburg, just saying, I just think we need 3 bids anytime we look at giving away money. Make sure we're getting the best price.
I'm okay with that. So.
And all I was trying to say was, do I want to put the guy who's going to come in with a $5,000 or $10,000 project through that? I mean, I'd let that one go. I'd like to see a limit or something.
Is there an option to put a limit, like to make a cutoff above?
My
this or
recommendation, I'm sorry, Camille, I don't mean to cut you. My recommendation is to leave this how it is. The FSL program's been this way since inception.
You mean leave it where,
Leave it where it's at. We're trying to encourage businesses to get rid of monopole signs, non-conforming signs, and come up and affect the aesthetics and beauty of our community by proper signage that helps our community look good and helps businesses. So the more requirements you put on that business, even though it's a bid, even though that makes sense, I think you're going to deter businesses from applying for the grant. That's my opinion. I work for the collective wisdom. And the less expensive the sign gets, or if it's just, painting, are you going to require the 3 bids for painting? So it's an up to 25,000. That's a 3 quote for us. I don't think that the requirements that we have in the grant program are horribly or beyond unreasonable fiduciary responsibility. But if the commission desires to get quotes, that's what we'll require.
And
Are
I
we
believe
able
we've
to
been
say-
doing it. We've been doing this about the entire time I've been on the commission.
5, 6, 7, 8
Yeah.
years.
Have you ever come across anything that was outrageous? I mean, something that was inappropriate, or you had to go back and question?
I will say that everything's been within the grant parameters of up to 25,000, but I'll also say most of them have all been local businesses that they did business with as well. So this is the first
So could we say that we need?
use a local company or 3 bids?
Preference for local vendors?
Just
for
a bid from a
something like that?
local company, and you could use an out-of-town, but we need a local bid.
Well, piggybacking off Al's comments, I do feel like we're overly complicating this. And,
Yes.
I mean, these aren't that big of
we-
dollars, and they are putting money into it. They have skin in the game. So
They do.
I don't think overcomplicating. I mean, they're asking the city for basically free money. I don't think it's too much to ask that they get a couple proposals. I mean, nobody gets any work done at their house, I assure you, without getting at least 2 quotes on what the cost is gonna be.
I'm gonna. Well, I don't want to bet. I was gonna say they probably got some quotes, just brought us the one, but who knows? I mean,
Well, I mean, most quotes are in writing. I mean, they could have submitted them in if they did. I just don't
Okay.
think it's too much to ask. They're coming to the city asking for free money, that they give us a couple quotes to make sure that we're not giving money away for something we could have had done for half the price.
The idea of not putting a number on it, but saying at least one quote has to be local makes a lot of sense.
You just want to direct staff to do.
Yeah, now you've thrown out a couple of concepts.
yeah, I was gonna say we're definitely overly complicating it now.
So,
Everybody got anything?
yeah, so, Robert,
The representative from Napa is here. One of the things that we run into in the purchasing side, which is what he just said, that corporate, they have 2 vendors that they can use nationwide for the company. So it's the same as we put out the bid. If they have a statewide contract and it's on contract, we have to purchase through them, whether local or not.
Thank you for saving us on that one. And based on that, I'll support this sign, just the Napa sign. And I will support the other one going to art board. I was going to say approve it subject to art board, but that's not really right. So
There's a motion
To table.
to table. So knowing what we know about the Napa contract, do we want to remove the table? And
He's got the motion. He can take it away.
that's up to you, Commissioner.
yeah, I will gladly withdraw the motion.
Do we have a second?
so, well, you're back to the original motion now to approve the resolution.
Right.
Okay. So would you like to make a new motion, Commissioner?
Okay, so I make a motion that we approve the Napa sign as recommended, and we send the mural through the art board first, and then back to the city commission.
Any dis-
I think we ought to do them separately.
What do you mean separately, sir?
2 separate votes, so you get 2 different projects here.
Instead of approving them both blanket,
Okay.
how do you feel about the first? How do you feel about the second?
Exactly, yes.
I make a motion we approve, withdraw my last motion, and make the motion that we approve the Napa sign as proposed.
We have a motion on the floor to approve Napa.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call on the approval of the Napa.
Commissioner Ponder,
Yes.
Commissioner Cunnell,
No.
Commissioner Burry,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Berry.
Yes.
Yes.
Chairperson Reisman.
Yes. Can I get a motion on the Mystic Ice Cream mural?
Motion to send the mural to the arts board for review prior to city commission.
Do we have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? I know the applicant is here. He would like to say something. Mr. Darrell, if you would come up and state your name and address for the record.
Good evening to all of you. My name is Darrell Day. I'm the owner of Mystic Ice Cream. And just an observation, and I'm so thankful that you would consider us for the grant proposal that we submitted, that this is our 3rd year in applying for the grant. The first year we didn't get it in time, The second year, the building owner had submitted something bigger, so he won and we didn't. So we're hoping that this year might be a little bit different, and I think we're looking at $4,000, something like that. And we did what was asked of us as far as the grant application submission and all of that. It doesn't say in the application process, oh, and by the way, an art board will now take a look at your things, or you need to have 2 or 3 other bids. We certainly could have done that had it been asked of us at the time of application. So glad to do whatever you ask. We're just talking about a little mural inside the building. It'll make it look awesome.
I think we respect your comments, and I think this board just is asking for the process to be fulfilled, and I think that was a little bit of an oversight on our part, our staff's part, and it just needs to go back to the Arts Advisory Board for their recommendation, and then it would come back to us.
I thought they did that. Okay.
No, they have not done that. So, do we have a date set for the arts?
No.
Not yet. So we'll get something set sooner than later.
Okay.
Thank you.
Appreciate you all.
And FYI, this is a new process for us, and you're the first one to come through since we created this art board. So that's why it kind of fell through the cracks.
It's actually the second.
Oh, it's the second?
Yeah, but again, and just on this, I'll fall on the sword here. And look, I will really encourage the commission to approve this because in essence, it's a time issue, and we're talking $4,000, and we're talking about putting an applicant through another 30 to 60 days to do the process right, which is a new process. So hold me accountable. This is my fault. It even came on my desk, and I was about to yank it until I talked with Amanda. And Amanda was like, no, it looks good. So henceforth, I would say approve it and move forward. Don't approve it because it's ugly, which I don't think anybody thinks that, because otherwise you'd be saying that. Yell at me and tell me never to do it again. And then henceforth, moving forward, all murals will go before. And I think the petitioner also makes a good argument that in the applications, we don't say it has to go before the art committee, because when the program was contemplated, there was no arts committee. And because there was no arts committee, and remember, the arts committee was formed back when Maria Stevanovic was here to do public art, and then that immediately crashed due to the circumstances surrounding the Arts Committee. So in all honesty, my office, including myself, has not given a whole lot of thought to the Arts Committee, hence why I continue to forget. But I would encourage the commission to approve it, or approve it pending the arts review, which will save him one more step, or do what you have. But I can assure the commission that there will never be another instance where I fail to follow the process.
I wasn't going to say anything about it, the mural, because I was going to let it go to the art board first. But based on your comments, I really just don't think it fits in with downtown. I mean, I just don't think it fits in with the theme of what you're trying to establish downtown at all. I just don't see how it fits into the historic type of theme you're trying to portray downtown to be, with an ice cream truck or whatever it is on the side of a building. I just think I wasn't going to bring that up tonight because I thought I was going to go back to the art board and then we'd discuss it when it came back to us. But I don't particularly care for the rendering downtown.
I will say art is subjective.
It is, absolutely.
I may not like everything, but I do think this is a good representation of that business that is in there. If you have been in his store, this is very much the style and eclectics of that store. He is a long-standing, good business in downtown. I would be in favor, after what our city manager has said, if someone would make a motion to approve it pending the arts board. I think this is a good start for the mural that we want to see in our city, and it's a good representation of that business, and it's fun and inviting for kids to come down and see that.
Well, I'm sure it represents his building fine. I just don't know it represents our downtown as a whole, is what I'm saying, Alan. I mean, it probably represents his building perfectly.
I respect that.
Do I have to withdraw my motion again?
I don't think we have it.
I don't think you have
Okay.
Motion on that one.
He got a second.
What was the motion?
To send a Mystic to the art board indefinitely.
Or so rescind that or vote on that.
But now I'd like to make it subject.
Or so rescind it and then make it.
Okay, so I'll withdraw that motion and make a new motion that we approve approve the mural tonight, subject to review by the Arts
To
Board.
approval from the Arts Board. I'll second that.
Any discussion? Commissioner Berry, did you have something?
I was just gonna do the motion, that's all.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second on the floor.
Yes, sir.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Connell,
No.
Commissioner Berry,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Berry,
Yes.
Commissioner Ponder,
Yes.
Chairperson Reisman.
Yes. Roll call.
Commissioner Berry,
I just, no, I don't have anything tonight, I think.
Commissioner Ponder,
Yes, I just wanted to give an update that we had a community cleanup, and I'm excited to say that we removed 3.5 tons of trash on the community cleanup on Saturday from our side of town on the east side. I know that the other commissioner may want to speak on what happened on the other side, in the Carver Heights side, but it was very successful, and we had 10 adults and several kids that came out, and we worked hard, and we met at the corner store. Commissioner Berry donated breakfast. My husband, our business, donated lunch, and we had a really a good time celebrating community and doing some improvements in the neighborhood.
Commissioner Connell,
Nothing.
Commissioner Berry,
Yeah, as long as we're talking murals downtown, I'm not sure what street that is. The orange that goes down the hill, there's a mural on the wall there that I'm not sure went through our art board, but I'd like that,
Investigated.
yeah.
What
you
street
know,
is this?
It's Orange Street.
Orange?
Orange is the one way that goes down the hill on the side of
Oh,
the building.
okay. What is the picture of? What is it?
Not really
Oh, you
sure.
can't tell, you can't identify it? Oh,
It's
Maybe a
wings-
bass
Wings and bass and.
Or something, yeah.
So,
Not real sure what it is, but I would like an opinion from the art board regarding that. I mean, that's what we made the art board for, so.
Maybe staff can get up a little with that building owner,
We'll look into it.
so. Good catch.
Thank you.
Chairperson Reisman.
Nothing this evening. Move for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
second.
Second.
Motion. Meeting's adjourned. 5:27.
3 minutes.
Do you want me to announce that first thing so the audience can clear if they?
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and call the February 24th City Commission meeting to order. We've already had the invocation and the pledge in the prior meeting. I do want to let, before we get to the proclamations, that items 6B1, 6B1 and 2 and 3, 6A, 1, 2, and 3 have been withdrawn by the applicant, so those will not be heard tonight. So if you're here for those items, 6A, 1, 2, and 3 have been withdrawn by the applicant.
Yeah, just if
Yep, go ahead.
I can add to, so those were formally withdrawn by the applicant. We have record of that in our office, so the case ends here. Any modification thereto on that project or that parcel would have to, if they change or want to do something different, it would have to start at the beginning of the process again, which would be to formulate an application reviewed by the Planning and Zoning, P&Z, then back to you all. So that would, anything else on that property seeking annexation or zoning petition would start from scratch. So it's officially dead until such modification or change or new application would come.
Thank you, City Manager. Is the Leesburg High School girls weightlifting team here? If they could,
They're out in the
if they
hallway.
could come in and stand up here. Coach Boyer and your team, you guys want to come up here and stand? Hear all those medals clanging.
Don't hold them, let them play, yeah.
Yeah, you guys can come up here.
Wow, yeah.
We can recognize you
Wow,
guys.
look at that. She's gonna have neck ache.
Is that everybody? For today? Okay.
Okay.
All right. All right. Whereas the City of Leesburg believes that student athletes are an important part of the Leesburg community and wishes to recognize the Leesburg High School Lady Lifters girls weightlifting team on their extraordinary performances throughout the 2024-2025 season. And whereas under the leadership of head coach Josh Boyer and assistant coach Taylor Woods, the 2024 and 2025 LHS Lady Lifters team accomplished the following: district runner-up in Olympic, regional runner-up in traditional, regional championship in Olympic, Class 2A state runner-up in traditional, and Class 2A state championship in Olympic, their third FHSAA team state championship, including back-to-back titles in the Olympic category. And whereas the 2024-2025 FHSAA Class 2A state championship meet, the following lifters medaled in their respective weight classes: Kayla Nord, state runner-up in traditional and third place in Olympic; Nevaeh Wells, state champion in traditional with 500 pounds total; and Melissa LeBron Escobardo, state championship in both Olympic and traditional, setting state records in snatch with 125 pounds and Olympic total with 280 pounds. And whereas the sport of weightlifting is largely an individual effort, team spirit and support are essential part of the lifters' successes, and the members of the 2024-2025 LHS Lady Lifters team are as follow: Melissa LeBron Escuardo, Kayla Nord, forgive me if I mispronounce these names, Jasanas Perilla, Hannah Stubbs, Nevaeh Wells, Andrina Alexander, Alexis Aravello, Liz Beltran, Jasmine Benton, Cameron Boyer, Zaya Conley, Ariana Distol, Brooke Falcon, Yandar Helling, Brianna Johnson, Savannah Johnson, Zayaja Lockhart, Danny McCormick, Mackenzie Mosier, Gracielle Peden, Genesis Romero, Alondra Cerna, Peyton Sykes, Lila Van Beek, Lacey Whitman, and Zaria Wright. Whereas Coach Boyer's tenure of the LHS weightlifting programs, girls and boys, have had tremendous success, including 149 individual state qualifiers, 100 individual state medalists with 21 FHSAA individual state runner-ups and 17 individual FHSAA state championships and 5 team state championships. And Coach Boyer was selected as the Florida Dairy Farmers Coach of the Year in 2023 boys and 2024 girls. Now, therefore, I, Alan Reisman, Mayor of the City of Leesburg, do hereby extend heartfelt congratulations to the 2024-2025 Leesburg High School Lady Lifters Girls Weightlifting Team, urge all citizens to applaud their exemplary sportsmanship, and achievements. Thank them for being positive role models for our youth of our city and wish them continued success in the upcoming years. Go Jackets. Proud parents.
1, 2, 3. Go Jackets.
Very cool. All right, we'll move on to presentations. I will turn this over to the city manager.
Yeah, is Melissa, would you come on?
They're right there. Yeah.
You guys probably need me for the microphone. As you guys know, we have 2 long-term employees who are getting ready to retire at the end of this month on the 28th. So let me do, actually, believe it or not, the junior employee first, which is Tino Anthony, who has... I want to say that Tino was one of the first department heads I appointed.
Yes,
Um,
under duress.
Well, that wasn't my duress. But anyway, so Tina, I wanted to present this to you this evening. It's a presentation on behalf of the City Commission for your 20 years of dedicated service to the city of Leesburg.
Thank you.
And the past 10 is
11.
11. There you
Yeah,
go. As IT director.
As of
month.
this Thursday, it'll be 21 years.
There you go.
So I
Okay.
just missed it. Okay,
Thanks
take
for
care.
your service.
You're welcome.
You gotta be a teacher.
Oh, okay.
And it might as well be a good time. And now, Mike Andrews, our network manager, is going to be our IT director effective March 1st.
Very good.
This one also is 20 years of service. Jim Williams, come on up here. I think Jim has probably served the city a little longer to that. I think back in the day when there was an appointed clerk, Jim was the clerk and finance director, then left us to Mount Dora.
No, I was
right?
gone for 12 years.
He was, and then he smartened up and came back. And then Jim, I think, came back when Bill Spinelli was our finance director. And then when Bill left to chase the career, I was smart enough to hire Jim as our finance director. So Jim, again, this is on behalf of the City Commission, thanking you for your years of dedicated service to the
Thank
city.
you.
Appreciate it.
And I would like to say,
Yes.
it's a pleasure working with a city manager that understands that a budget is a real thing.
Some days, anyway. So, and I don't think Paul's here this evening, but Paul Austin, our customer service manager, is going to be replacing Jim effective March 1st as well. So,
Very good.
Couple of changes on the way.
Great things ahead. Thank you guys for your years and dedicated service to the city. Next, we will move to public comments. This section is reserved for members of the public to bring up matters of concern or opportunities of praise. Please note that issues raised during this time will not be discussed in detail during the current meeting. They will either be referred to appropriate staff or scheduled for consideration at a future City Commission meeting. Each speaker is allocated 3 minutes to provide their comments. Kindly adhere to the time limit to ensure equal opportunity for all participants and to support the efficient conduct of the meeting. Thank you. Do we have any public comments this evening? If you would, please state your name and address for the record.
I think they were ahead of me. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Amanda McLee. I am the board chairperson of the Center for the Arts. So just want to thank all of you guys, commissioners and mayor, city staff, for the consistent support at the Center for the Arts. We haven't had a great road the last few years, but we are well on track. So I wanted to come here today and thank you for your support. Also to invite you all out to our Art Festival, which will be March 8th and 9th in downtown Leesburg. So we have a great event planned. We have some live performances, local and regional artists that are coming, and activities for all ages. So again, thank you for your support and hope to see you downtown. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm all right. Hello, everybody. Nice to be here. I do come once in a while to the Historic Preservation Board, so I sit in Alan's chair then. Mayor and Commissioners, I'm here today representing the Leesburg Heritage Society and the museum. So I'm just going to start off by just saying that you all, as a commission, you've done wonderful things in Leesburg since you've been on the commission. I mean, you look around and you see all these things, and with Al's leadership, you know, you have the swimming complex, the new center, Munition Center. I mean, I could go on, but it's wonderful. I don't know where we had that. We didn't have that kind of money, I don't think, when I was on the commission. But anyway, you've just been great and done a lot of things. But I want you to think today about our history. We do have a heritage in Leesburg. We've been here a long time. We weren't just plopped down in the middle of the earth to be a city. We've grown through the years, and it's important that we preserve that heritage and have a nice building to put it all in. Where the museum is now was built as the Leesburg Women's Club way, way back. And it has been several things since. At some point, it became a city building. Before that, I think it was Lassiter Ware Insurance, and then the city, and we paid the electric bills there and stuff before we had a lot of this other stuff. And so it's been in the city for a long time, and it needs a lot of work. And I got involved because I noticed that it needed work. So I called up Al, and I said, Al, it's time we spent some money on the museum and our history, our heritage. So he listened very politely and said to, you know, come and make a presentation. So that's what I'm doing today. There are going to be a lot of other people that are speaking that are involved in the heritage. Do you all have any questions of me? If not, we'll just go on to the next people. Okay. Thank you. Nice to be here. Oh, I have 28 seconds left. We didn't have that when I was up here. We let people talk a long time if they wanted to.
I feel like applauding. Anyway, I'm Jim Miller. I'm with the Heritage Society, and I'm here to request that what she said. So I'm going to hand these out. These are some plans that Daniel is our contractor who we've hired to put this together to do a scope of work, and he's got some preliminary plans that he can show you tonight, and then hopefully in 2 weeks he'll be doing a full presentation for you. So I'll give him my time.
Do I get 3 minutes? Awesome. I'll take her 22 seconds too. Pretty sharp. That was a good job.
If you would just state your name and address for the record.
Oh, yes, thank you. My name is Daniel DiVinanzo, and I live at 1310 Crestview Drive, Mount Dora. So I'm a general contractor. I actually was trained formally in architecture at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. I have been in Florida since 1987. I have redeveloped quite a number of buildings in the Lake County area. I did most of the redevelopment for Beacon College, also downtown Mount Dora. I've done probably 35 buildings in Eustis. I've done 4 buildings and City Hall in Umatilla. So what you have before you is you have a 5,000 square foot building, mission style. The structure, you've known it as the Leesburg Heritage Museum. I've inspected the structure. It is very well and solidly built. It's approximately 5,000 square feet. And to utilize it to its best use, it actually needs an elevator. I've done 7 elevators in Lake County. And one right here in Leesburg. So what we're looking at is on the building faces south, and on the east elevation, it's adjacent to a parking lot. And what we're proposing is to build this. Oh, south elevation. Thank you. Thank you very much. You got me there. That's correct. And we're going to build about 1,000 square foot. The anticipated is 2-story, 1,000 square foot structure adjacent to it, which will allow for a main entry off the parking lot, as well as an elevator and a second staircase for a secondary means of egress. Restrooms, first floor and second floor, ADA compliant, as well as additional. And then on the second floor, there will be basically a kitchen reserve station. No hood and no cooking. The building will be completely the budget you see before you. So the building will end up about 6,000 square feet. The budget you see before you is a complete rehabilitation of the exterior, building the addition, installing the elevator. I have actually quoted this out, replacing all of the glass and doors, stuccoing the exterior, restoring the original facade on 6th Street, correct? 6th Street, to its original design, as well as renovating the entire interior of the building. That's new plumbing systems, complete new electrical systems, new HVAC systems, insulation package, and windows. So this budget, I can tell you, is probably close. Of course, I'm not necessarily your contractor, because what I'm just doing is preparing you for a meeting so that if you decide to go forward, I will guide them through the development process of the documents, and then, of course, it'll go out for bid. And just so you know, I've only lost 1 bid in 30 years in construction. And that was the City Hall of Umatilla. And when the contractor that got it fell down, they hired me to finish the job. So anyway, it's a fabulous structure. You're going to end up, soup to nuts, a new building, less than $200 a foot. Those numbers might be tightened up once you have the documents. And I do have an architect to relay. His name is David Jazz. I don't know if you've heard of him. Jazz & Associates out of Mount Dora. He's an excellent restoration architect. And of course, you may have to put that out for bid, but that's all I got for today. This little packet is just show you some elevations. There's a sketch in there of the drawing with an elevation, because what we propose to do is make the elevation where the new entry is match or very similar to the other entry. And those windows were all there, and then they built a drive-through window thing there that will be torn down. So I know I burned up her 22 seconds. Thank you.
Mr. Daniels.
That's good, you can have it.
Well, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Frank Stivener. I'm a 5th-generation Leesburg family. Evander Lee, Leesburg is named after, is my 2nd great-granduncle. He had a sister, and that would be my great-great-grandmother. But I have questions to ask you of you city commissioners. What happened in Leesburg 68 years ago this week? Can anybody in this room other than you tell me?
Don't put me on the spot.
We celebrated Leesburg Centennial, a week-long celebration to celebrate the history of Leesburg. That's why we need this museum refurbished. Did anybody know the answer to that other than you? Okay. I have a second question. Okay, excuse me, Miss Knowles. That's not your name now, but your maiden name, okay? A week from today, March the 3rd, 1845. Can anybody tell me what happened that day? I wasn't around.
Say the date again. Really?
March the 3rd, 1845. Anybody know? Florida became the 27th state of the United States of America. That's why we need history. And we have history at the Leesburg Heritage Museum. And we want to pass it to our generations, Okay? So I know it's a heck of a lot of money. It makes my butt pupple to, maybe I shouldn't have said it that way, to ask for that much money from the city of Leesburg. But I think it will be money well spent as we go forward in saving Leesburg's heritage. And I thank you for your time.
And Mr. Stivender.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Roland Nunez, 1928 County Road 25A, proud Leesburg resident. I am here on behalf of the Hispanics of Lake County Association, which is a county-wide nonprofit that improves community engagement through workforce development, humanitarian outreach, and multicultural awareness. Throughout the county over the last 3 years, we have provided a lot of opportunities for engagement through everything from breakfast to festivals and fairs, through a survey that resulted in a 68-page community report that provides demographics on our community within Lake County. The reason I am here today is while we have quarterly breakfast all throughout the county where we rotate cities, of course, as a Leesburg resident, I am especially excited whenever it is in Leesburg. We will be having our first Leesburg breakfast next week on March 4th at 8 a.m. at the Leesburg Resource Center. All of our breakfasts are themed on different areas that are important to the community. The theme of this breakfast is entrepreneurship and small business development, where local small business owners will talk about their journeys and their experiences to provide inspiration to others, as well as we will have the Lake County Small Business Development Center for those who are interested in their own entrepreneurship ventures. So I would like to ask for your support by promoting this opportunity, and if you are available, attending yourselves as well, as we want to be able to show our Leesburg residents the support that we have for them who want to join those entrepreneurial journeys. So it is a great opportunity. Again, March 4th in the Leesburg Resource Center. You can find more info on our website, holca.net. That is HOLCA.net. Thank you all so much for your continued support. I know you've supported us a lot, including with the Hispanic Heritage Month proclamation back in September. So we know everything you do for us, and we really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
My name is Damani Nettles. I stay at 1081 Bradford Ridge. I'm the coach at Leesburg High School for boys and girls basketball. Just want to give a thank you out to the mayor and commissioner for coming out and support us in the regionals game. Our girls finished at the finish and lost in the regional finals, and our boys made it to states. And we are going to states March the 5th, 3 p.m. We play Punta Vedra, and it's at Lakeland Center. We want you guys to come out and support us. Thank you.
Thank you, Damani.
Good evening. I'm Teresa Connor at 910 Georgia Avenue. I'm also one of the CRA commissioners for Carver Heights area in Mount Clair. And I just want to thank the Public Works Department for Saturday for our cleanup community, and the mayor for coming out to assist us with that. We did have a great time there, and I think we picked up about 7.5 tons, was it? No, 5.92 tons. So what we're going to do is plan another big one and just try to get more people involved. I did have a presentation for you all, and being that I did not get my little thing in time for it to be checked, I am going to just email it to all of you all, and you can view it then. Thank you so much.
Hi, my name's Alice Hoffman, live in Plantation at Leesburg. And I was here in December when you all were discussing the fluoridation of the water and had a vote on that. And I don't know what happened in between, for you all, but I want to commend you for bringing this back up because it looks like it's going to be under discussion again in a few minutes perhaps. But I'm a health coach and a health advocate, and just wanted to urge you again to resist putting fluoride in the water in Leesburg. It's studies have shown that it's clearly a neurotoxin. It is toxic to our health, especially to children, lowering the IQ, and many other health implications. In fact, if you looked at the bags of the fluoride that's put in the water, it's got a skull and a crossbones on it. So clearly that's not something that we want to be putting in our water and into our systems. It's just not healthy, and I'm glad that you're considering suspending your plans to fluoridate our water. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Any other public comments?
Hello again. Good evening. My name is Nicole. I reside in Sorrento, Florida. I also wanted to say thank you for taking a moment to bring up this topic again regarding fluoride. I know everybody's over the conversation, but I am hoping that with it being brought up again this time that we can have a better resolution on potentially removing it and keeping it out of the water. Our most vulnerable communities depend on this conversation, and I know that there were some comments made by the city manager a few weeks ago, and it went on public record that there were some concerns that people were bringing these to you guys needlessly, and that regardless of the concerns of fluoride, it was being seen as a conspiracy theory. Even tying in at the time that maybe this was occurring during the time that RFK Jr. was potentially going to be appointed. I cannot in good faith believe that anyone would want to think that it is a conspiracy theory to want to have informed consent protected. If you guys remember, I'm a registered nurse in this community, and I take that very seriously, as this is a fundamental right to all of human beings that are in the community of Leesburg. That in 2006, the National Research Council deemed fluoride as a neurotoxin, but it was a federal court ruling last year that just confirmed this based on evidence that was presented to them during that time, that fluoride is considered still a medical intervention prescribed by a physician, that unregulated amounts of fluoride can cause fluorosis, and that it's a toxicokinetic evidence has shown that fluoride can pass through the brain during in vitro analysis. It's just really disappointing that despite all the overwhelming evidence based on literature, federal and state guidance of fluoride's potential harm, that we are here today because of potentially a business decision, that it took a financial decision to remove the unreasonable risk to pregnant women and children from fluoride being put in the water. I'm here respectfully. I just want to make sure we stress the importance of this. We are, instead of erring on the side of caution months ago, I can only assume that there was pressure by potentially some of our local dentists and others that were deciding factors that pushed medicating Leesburg communities with fluoride, and why this decision continued. If fluoride was such an important need, there could have been business decisions made to take that $600,000 and use it to find ways to make fluoride products more available to those who want it. We keep showing up because these decisions continue to be made despite federal and state guidance coming back and saying that it was a health hazard to continue leaving fluoride in the public water systems. Respectfully, this committee's job is just to ensure that the community has access to safe drinking water. It is not our decision as a panel to take away that right of informed consent. Please, once again, we are hoping that you will decide to do the right thing, regardless of it being a health or financial decision, to shut down any any efforts to move forward with adding fluoride to Leesburg's drinking water. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name's Karen Motley. I'm at 2445 Farrington Drive in Ferries, Florida. I'm also a registered nurse in the area. And I know, being with the FDA deeming the fluoride as a drug because it's a treatment, being a nurse, we come in contact with medications that many times are pulled off the market because they've found that there are problems with the meds, that it causes problems for the community, for those that take it. So I feel like with the fluoride, we do have new research studies coming available. We do have the federal ruling that was in September of 2024 that also said that the amounts of fluoride that some are putting in their water is causing neurotoxic and IQ problems. There's also the fact that the more you drink of your water, you don't excrete it all out. So over years and years and years of consuming the fluoride, it will accumulate in your body. So I'm an older individual, and I would really hope that you would consider not moving forward with the fluoride in the water. And I know that when it's in the water, I know with the vaccine, we were given the ability to opt out with a medical or religious exemption if we chose not to take it. But with this particular drug, we really don't have the capability to opt out without putting some kind of filtration system on your house or either having to, filter the water, period. So I just would like for you to consider not moving forward with it, please. Thank you.
Guess we're doing this now. I thought maybe everybody would talk when you got to the point. But Caroline Van Dyken, 120 Palmore Boulevard. I've been up here before talking about it. And I just want to say I respect opinions on both sides. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, so I'm not here to go on about the fluoride. But what I'm ultimately here, what it boils down to is freedom, and the freedom to choose what goes into our bodies. And while the intentions of the program might have been the best of intentions, it's ultimately up to us what we consume. I asked this commission to side on the side of freedom and to allow us to choose whether or not we want to consume the fluoride naturally or from toothpaste.
Thank you, Ms. Van Dyken.
Thank you.
Any other public comments? Seeing none, public comments are closed. We're going to move to the consent agenda. Routine items are placed on the consent agenda to expedite the meeting. If the commission or staff wish to discuss any item, the procedure is as follows. 1, pull the items from the consent agenda. 2, vote on the remaining items with a roll call vote. 3, discuss each item pulled and then vote by roll call. Are there any items the commissioners would like to pull this evening?
I'd like to pull 5C4, I believe, yes.
5C4. Any other items? Seeing none, I do have one under the meeting minutes. It's under the airport identification for the road. It just changed environmental assessment to experimental aircraft association. So, and that was it. So, we're pulling only 5C4?
Yeah.
So motion to approve all remaining items on consent agenda.
We have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second. Any discussion? Any public comments? Seeing none, roll call.
Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Burry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Mayor Eastman?
Yes. Would someone please introduce 5C4?
Introduce and ask to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, authorizing mayor and city clerk to execute a renewal lease agreement with the West Leesburg Community Development Corporation for office space at the Leesburg Resource Center and providing an effective date.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second. All right. Discussion from the commissioners?
Yes, I just had a question, please, for city manager. Is there a reason for just a 3-year lease? Here we go with the leases again, so part 2. I'm just concerned, the organization has been established since their 19 years. What does every 3 years, I mean, is there a reason to renew because of organization structure, or I'm just...
Commissioner, again, I don't have a good answer for you. You know, it's what we've done in the past. I know that's not a great answer, but typically we did the 3-year leases with West CDC. So we can put in whatever number you like there.
Is there, I was going to ask, is there any way we can modify it just to do the at least 10 years?
You can stick 10 in there now if you would like to amend it. So the staff doesn't have a preference on lease issues there.
And I mean, if
we've partnered with them for some time, so it's really the pleasure of the commission.
Okay. Well, can we discuss before we put a motion?
That's right.
Yep.
Can I ask if anybody else has any objections or concerns?
As I've spoke before, I just do not think the city needs to get into these long-term leases.
10 years is too long as well?
I think so. I think 3 years is more sufficient.
Well-
I think 10 years is extremely long for a lease.
Well, I just wanted to add for the notation of the West Leesburg CDC building, the resources building was the housing for the West Leesburg CDC. So for them to have to keep doing 3-year lease is questioning. is it really necessary? I'm just
Is it
thinking.
that big a deal for them to come back and ask for an extension of the lease?
I think it's unnecessary because it's hard to kind of do longevity of planning if you have to come back every 3 years to determine, okay, this is our cutoff time, can we look at future? And as the commissioner, it's hard to say, well, will they be in this building or not before doing any future planning. I read this and I thought about it, and then based on our conversations before last month, that's why I thought I would bring it up to just ask.
Well, I understand. Like I said, I just have concern with us entering these long-term leases. I think 3 to 5 year lease is the longest we should ever go in a lease.
Well, are there any other comments from anyone else, or is just Jay and I?
I would support a 10-year.
Okay.
We built the building for them. We customized it for them. I've fully supported everything. But I'm not crazy about 10-year leases. I mean, I know we're not going to pull the rug out from under the organization, but I think the basis originally for 3 years was just to be sure, at least in the early years, that there were some requirements with them, community requirements and so forth. So, I might go to 5. I'm not going to support 10, but 5 is not a big deal.
Well, I'm thinking about the stability, as I stated, and the fact that to continue to do it, but I'd like to still move forward. I guess I don't have the vote, though. I just think, I don't know, Jay, did you give anything? Can I go ahead and put a motion out there, or would we have public comments?
I can't.
Okay. You didn't know? if you
We're not
said-
at public comments yet.
Okay. Could I go ahead and? I'd like to make a motion to request that the West Leesburg CDC lease with the Resource Center be extended to a 10-year term instead of a 3-year term.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Do we have a second? Seeing none, the motion fails. All right, so we're back to the original motion of 3 years. Any further discussion? Public comments, Fred?
Yes. Yes, for the record, Fred Griffin Jr., President of West Leesburg. I'm glad Commissioner Berry brought that up because I have sat down with the board and they questioned me, why do we have a short term when the Resource Center was built around West Leesburg to help the community? And just out of curiosity, why is it the 3 years? And Al did mention that he didn't really know. I think the longevity of which we have done before, and which I know Commissioner Canal said he's not a big fan of, but when you look around on the landscape of other organizations, it's all, 20, 30, 40, but building was built for us, and it's very difficult to operate and plan for the future with CRA when we have a short-term lease, knowing that it was built for that purpose. We don't have any intentions of going anywhere, but I think being in the office and see the everyday operation, we have movement and would like to see more movement within the building to help our residents to be more effective from everyday life.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Any other public comments on this item? So we have a motion and a second for the 3 years. Any further discussion from the commissioners? Seeing none, roll call.
Commissioner Burry,
Yes.
Commissioner Peterson,
Yes.
Commissioner Berry,
Yes, because 3 years has to be the lease contract agreement, correct? It's either 3 or 0, correct?
Yes, correct.
3 years, please.
Commissioner Connell,
Yes.
Mayor Eastman.
Yes. All right, we're going to move to public hearings and non-routine items. If our city attorney, Mr. Grant, if you would do the swearing in, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If anyone here is present tonight to speak on item 6A4, which would be the Lee School 2025 SPUD rezoning, if you would please stand and raise your right hand so we can get you sworn in. All right. Do you swear or affirm that all testimony you'll give tonight will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, thank you all. Mr. Mayor, all set.
Would someone please introduce 6A4?
I'll introduce, has to be read by title only.
An ordinance of the City of Leesburg, Florida, rezoning approximately 4.87 plus minus acres from SPUD to SPUD Small Plan Unit Development for property generally located west of Lee Street, north of Herndon Street, east of Perkins Street, and south of West Line Street, as legally described in Section 26, Township 19 South, Range 24 East, Lake County, Florida, and providing an effective date.
Motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second.
Excited about that one.
Dan, would you mind giving us a debrief?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Dan Miller, Planning and Zoning. This is a request for rezoning of the old Lee School property to 5 acres, as our city clerk indicated, bounded on the north by Herndon, south on West Line, east on Perkins Street, and west of Lee Street. The request is for future development of a 102-unit multifamily apartment complex. Just a real brief history. The school was abandoned as a school use sometime in the early 2000s. No developers were found in the meantime, just tire kickers, but nothing serious. So the property did sit vacant. In 2015, the property was sold by the school board to an investor. And in 2016, that investor, under Ordinance 1601, did rezone the property to allow for assisted living, independent living, memory care, and medical offices. Again, there were no developers found to be interested in the property, so in 2018, the property was sold and to another investor, and in 2021, this investor, under Ordinance 2119, did rezone to allow for 49 townhomes and 14 apartment units. Over the time period since 2021, again, no developers were found to be interested in the property. So in 2024, the Historic Preservation Board did vote to allow the buildings to be demolished. So essentially what we had was over 20 years of nothing happening on the property. And in working with the City Commission and Planning Commission, it was simply no way to end up saving the buildings and still have a positive economic use out of it. So the request before you today is for an apartment complex to be considered for the site. Under the PUD requirements for this proposal, it's 102 multifamily units, 4 floors, which is seen in the attachments. I do have to remind you that the Planning Commission did vote asking for 3 floors in their motion. No other uses were permitted in the proposal. There's a 50-foot setback from the roads. The unit sizes are varied, and they are planned for 1 and 2 bedrooms only. Is that correct still? Parking will be per City of Leesburg code requirements. There are design and architectural standards which are shown in the exhibits. Dark sky lighting will be required. 35% of the property will be in open space. There's a 25-foot buffer going around the entirety of the property in green space. A fence is required, which to be wrought iron or brick or stone columns. Bahia or Bermuda grass, no St. Augustine, because it uses a lot of water. There'll be an access point on Lee Street and one on Herndon. Signage will be decorative entry features of concrete, brick, or stucco with a maximum height, I believe, of 5 feet. There's a recreational requirement of 10,000 square feet to be devoted to a separate recreation area, which could be a swimming pool, playground, dog parks, etc. There's also, by way of requirement in the PUD, monumentation memorializing the Lee School, which is required on the site, and that is some examples of that, samples of that are shown in the exhibits. Then there is our standard phasing clause, which will revert this property to RE1, which is 1 acre per unit, if substantial commencement does not occur within 48 months. Mr. Michael Rankin of the Land Planning Group in Mount Dora is here to represent the case. And any questions, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor?
Any questions for Dan from the commission?
One, Dan, there was some verbiage in there about revised conditions. Has anything changed with regard to
well,
the original proposal?
yes, sir. The PUD we're referring to is the current PUD, which allows the 49,
Okay, right.
and that's the revision to what's current.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't.
Yes, sir.
Any questions from the commission from the applicant? Seeing none. Any public comments on these items? Seeing none. Any last minute comments? Seeing none, roll call.
No.
Oh, that's, okay.
It's being proposed for 4-story. I think 4 stories is too high for this area. I would agree with our planning commission. I wouldn't go along with anything more than 3. I think 4-story in the middle of this neighborhood is way too high.
I went up to Ocala and drove the project they did in Ocala. Saw numerous 4-story buildings. At that point, to me, that was the solution. I'm the one who said, we put this developer through a lot. I'm the one who, we had a big debate on parking, and I did make the comment, that I would support going 4 floors if they would, just get the parking satisfactory. And I'm excited about this project. I appreciate the developer's patience through this whole process. This is big for downtown. This is good for our city. I'm excited.
I mean, I do. I mean, maybe Mike can answer this better, but I believe they can do 3-story and still get the same amount of units. They'll just eat up a little bit more of the open green space. But I just think 4 stories is way too high for this area, for this neighborhood. I mean, it doesn't really change the number of units. It's going to change the amount of open green space that would be left. It'll just make the footprint a little bigger of the building.
Yeah, Dan, I had a question. When we talked last time about this, we were going to try to find some elevations because Lee School was kind of built up, and then the first and second floor were taller floors than what a normal. Like, what's the difference in the 4 and what?
Right. The Lee School was kind of deceptive because it's only a 2-story building, but it functioned as a 3-floor because there was a basement down there, and then you had to go up 8 or 10 steps to get to the first floor.
Right.
And it had high ceilings, much higher than what's in this building. We were in there several times. So functionally, the Lee School building was actually a 3-story, I should say visually, it was a 3-story building. Functionally, it was 2. So the net result of what you'll see would be 1 additional story versus 2 additional. So,
and I wish we knew the height of that building. I asked that question last time because from a perception standpoint, the prior school looked over 3 floors. I understand where you're going with this comment, and
Yes.
we talked about it a little bit last time.
if you took the standard floors in an office building, you would end up with 3 in the old Lee School, but because it had such high ceilings and an elevated first floor, that's why it only had 2.
Yeah, I think you hear what Commissioner Burry and I are trying to say. We're saying the net difference could be 6 or 8 feet, not 10,
that's what I
12,
think.
15 feet. I mean,
Yes.
Any other further discussion?
Yeah, I mean, it is my opinion, as we receive more people not wanting us to have urban sprawl, that we have an ideal location to have units close to our downtown. And I think that, having 4 stories there where we're going up instead of sprawling out is a good idea.
I mean, I'm not opposed to the development of the property. I'm opposed to the overall height of the building. I mean, it's a 4-story building. I mean, it's plus or minus going to be at least 40 foot high. I mean, plus or minus, when you figure for construction and everything else, you're going to have 10 foot per floor. I mean, you're talking about 40 foot up in the air. I think that's too high for the area. And they can get the same amount of units out of 3.
I personally would like to see more green space rather than the height.
We got to park down the street.
Yeah, so, any other further discussion from the commissioners? Seeing none, roll call.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes.
Commissioner Connell?
No.
Commissioner Burry?
Yes.
Mayor Eastman?
Yes. We have no first readings. We'll move on to non-routines. Would someone please introduce 6A or 6C1?
I'll introduce, has to be read by title only.
Resolution of the City Commission of the City of Leesburg, Florida, suspending the fluoride injection system to the water distribution system and providing an effective date.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second, discussions. City Manager, I will turn this over to you.
Yeah, I don't know how much there is to say about this topic. Obviously, we've talked about it ad nauseum. I don't know about controversies or conspiracy theories, but I won't back off from at least my commentary that I do think there's political and financial factors that I bring this before you this evening that have at least changed my mind about the project of fluoridating the water. And those are obviously in Senate Bill 700 from Senator Trunow, who's introduced a bill into this year's legislative session that requires no additives other than disinfecting additives that go into the drinking water. Obviously, that bill has a long way to go. But in that regard, I did reach out to our lobbyist, Ryan Matthews. And most people's interpretation who follow legislation thinks with any bill, it's at a certain level, but this bill certainly does have a better than average chance of passing in its form. And then I think as well, too, on the federal level, with the appointment of Robert Kennedy Jr., I think Health and Human Services is definitely going to have some different concepts about how we move forward with public health. And I think as a matter of timing, while there's been no official state or federal directives to change public water drinking formulas, if you will, probably with our luck, by the time we get the project finished, there will be. So with that, I would recommend, and I did administratively stop the project last week to be able to save as much as we could. I updated the commission via an email, I believe on Friday, that updated the presentation that Cliff provided you, and I'll cut to the chase. It's about $225,000 financial dollars that we saved there out of about a $600,000 project. And about $100,000 of equipment that we think we can use in different fashions. So with that, our recommendation is that you terminate the project.
Commissioner discussion?
We all know this has been a controversial issue, subject. I flipped my vote on it, so what do I say? Only time I flipped my vote in 6 years. But in light of, and I don't regret my vote supporting it a year ago, but in light of the change in the political landscape, I will not support it going forward, and I will vote to terminate it.
I'd like to add that I originally had agreed to vote for fluoride as well. Originally, it was presented as for children and the different things that could harm children. But for my vote of being focusing on the district in which I serve, I was thinking of most of the kids that do not have dental plans, and that fluoride in the water was something that we had years ago, and it was very, helpful. No one had any problems then. But based on all the information that has been presented now, and with the votes that will be coming through, I definitely will have to agree that we're being pretty much forced with the political arena that fluoride isn't good for you. And it's not just children, now it's adults. And Commissioner Connell, I want to say thank you for your comments, for bringing it up back in, I think, December's meeting, that you brought light to this suggesting. And I was still like, well, nothing proven yet, nothing stated. So I'm going to stick with it, but now I have a change of heart as well. So.
I don't want to qualify my comments on political landscape. I'm not getting into debating the science and different studies. I'm referring to the changes in Tallahassee and in D.C.
I'm referencing that as well.
Yeah. Any other commissioner comments?
No need.
Seeing none, we will go to roll call.
Commissioner Berry? Commissioner Connell?
Yes.
Commissioner Berry?
No.
Commissioner Peterson?
Yes.
Mayor Reisman?
Yes. All right, we're going to move to informational reports. The following reports are provided to the commission in accordance with the charter and ordinances. Any questions on those tonight? I have a couple. Let me get to it real quick. Again, I see 3 working with police department for, I'm assuming, alcohol services. I'm not sure why we're still seeing this when we changed that policy. And then also, we have a person on there working with electric department. I'm assuming it was, I don't want to say his name, even though it's public record. He was an apprentice reimbursement. That total has not changed in over a year. So apparently they aren't working with the electric department, and he owes us $2,500. So is there any legal action that we can go after these people who owe us money?
Yeah, there certainly could be legal action to go after people that owe money to the city. You know, I'm happy to review whatever records there are for the situation, evaluate it, and talk to the city manager about moving forward. If it, you know, there could be circumstances where, well, you know, every situation's unique a little bit with amounts that are owed and the actions you want to take to pursue those. But I'm absolutely happy to review that, and there likely is action that we can take.
I see these things from way back when that says working with. Apparently they're not working with us if they still owe us thousands and thousands of dollars. Yeah. And I thought we as a commission changed our policy on all people who have police for alcohol events are to pay that in advance. So why are we still seeing?
Well, it's a cumulative report, Mayor, but I'll get you a better answer.
And then why are we also choosing which events have police and which events don't?
Those are chosen for us.
I know.
So folks come in and you have a policy that's based on, I think that, 100 people or something that require. Chief, you want to help me out here?
I think
people do prepay, okay? B, it's a cumulative list. And C, code requires that you have police protection or police force for if you have alcohol and a certain amount of people.
Okay,
remember that correctly?
I don't recall specifically about a number of people, but I do know alcohol events do require an officer to be present. There's a different detail rate for alcohol versus a standard detail.
So we had 2 events over the weekend that had no officers. So,
need a little more detail there.
We had 2 events, especially those events were sponsored by the city, or we are sponsors of those events or put on those events. So why do we not have officers at those events is what I'm trying to get at. But we require people who have other outside entities who have alcohol to have officers is what I'm getting at.
So there's a special event policy and a Venetian Center policy. So anything in the Venetian Center is in commission mandated that they have to have alcohol or have to have an officer there. Anything for special events, it's written in the code that it's up to police's discretion on which events that they have there. So that is in the special events code. Chapter 26 is the one about special events, and then the one at the Venetian Center was just a directive from the commission.
So there was an event at the Venetian on Friday night that had no officer. So I'm not sure why we're approving applications that don't have an officer on there. That's where I'm getting at. So I think if...
Are you talking about Taste of Lake?
Taste of Lake, and there's been other events that have not had an officer. So if we're going to pick and choose, I think it needs to be all of them or none of them.
Okay.
Just my opinion.
We'll have an officer at the chamber.
Yeah, I would give the police discretion on what group it is and so forth.
But if I rent the facility and I have alcohol, Commissioner, I have to have an officer there, and I have to pay them. So why do if an officer is required per the Venetian Center, why are we picking and choosing? And I'm not saying they should charge. We can eat the cost because it's a city-sponsored event. I'm just saying we should have an officer at those events.
May I ask what events officer wasn't there other than the taste? I mean, what other, I
It
didn't
was
know.
city-sponsored events, just certain city-sponsored events.
I thought when you rent, you had to have a policeman.
So that's your issue with you're saying because it was city-sponsored, you still want police there?
Yeah, if we're well, every other organization's required. I'm not sure why we're sponsoring these events.
I was at that event. I didn't even think about it. It's a non-issue to me. I mean, I'm not worried about it.
Well, then I think if we're not going to enforce it for everybody, we need to change our policy.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. We had some trouble there for a while, but this was a city event. If the city event went bad, we won't do it again. You know.
Yeah, that doesn't. I respect your comments, Commissioner, but.
Go ahead.
I guess I just like tonight we've overly complicated three different subjects. A sign, and now we're talking about events at the Venetian. We had an incident a year or so ago. We had some trouble in the parking lot or something. That was a rather large party. I think, in fact, if I remember, all four venues were full that night. So it was a chaotic night. You know, we had, but I mean.
I have nothing against the organizations. I just think if there's alcohol being served, they should have an officer there. Especially since it's a city-sponsored event.
I'd like to ask, just to be clear, the Venetian Center when renting does not require, are you saying it's up to the police to decide if they have to go and alcohol has to be a part of it? So what if there's no alcohol? I mean.
If there's no alcohol, no officer is required. If there is alcohol, an officer is required.
Okay, so what about the other buildings that we rent, Resource Center? Is there officer there to be?
I don't think those are allowed to have alcohol.
Oh, wait, without alcohol? I'm just saying, so alcohol is the determining factor that a
Correct.
police has to be present?
So that's one of the triggers that set whether you're going to have a police officer there. We also, when the Venetian Center came together, kind of put together the best policy that we could to fit all the nuances that were occurring. And then we kind of started leaning towards if it's an outside event that's not sponsored by the city because of liability reasons, if it's sponsored by the city, we're covered there. But if you're, especially if it has alcohol and you're selling tickets to the general public, or charging them to come in for a donation for a cup of alcohol, because the state uses that as whether or not you need a liquor license kind of thing. So that's kind of where that started. And then the nuance came in, well, what if it's a charity event by the chamber or somebody, and it's a $25 ticket, but so that's kind of where that came in. So we'll certainly do a review of that to kind of get best practices, what other cities are doing, but it's a nightmare to come up with an exact policy to say this is what we're going to do.
What about the safety concerns of someone walking to and from their car, being robbed, or someone standing at a car, or a break-in at a car? I mean, why does it have to pertain to alcohol versus just having, you rent a building, you have a policeman there for security, you have a janitor there for locking and closing and putting things back? I mean, that should be standard that we offer when someone comes to pay for a rental of city property, I would think, because
I think two things come into play on that, Commissioner. One is, there's restaurants and bars all around the city that have parking lots where they're not having anyone there, but we have quite a few events there, and with limited staff and police department side for now, having somebody fill that every time for a 2-hour detail or 4-hour detail can become a little problematic, and so there's a couple of issues to look at there. But like I said, we'll go back and I'll work with the chief and with Travis and try to look at some other places that are. The Venetian Center's a very successful venue, and so as it grows, we're going to have to look into that.
So far, I'm only aware of one event that was just, got a little out of hand, and that was what had led to this change in policy. But other than that, I'm not aware of any incidents at all.
We've had some events that got spicy.
Oh, okay.
But
all those were non-city events.
All non-city events.
And that's the difference.
All serving alcohol and ticketed outside.
Again,
we
work at your direction. This has been a policy that we've had since the Venetian Center happened, and Chamber City event for Taste of Lake. So we didn't require that we have a police protection there. If you want police protection at any event that has alcohol, we'll do that. I think it should take a motion of the commission to direct that. An informal motion is fine. But again, there's a significant delineation between a city-sponsored event and a private event that uses public facilities that come to liability, frankly, clientele that participates in the event that may need more policing than others, frankly. But if we want to have one standard so everybody follows the same rules, I certainly understand that. And at the end of the day, you're basically increasing our cost by $1,000-ish, I would say. Maybe not that much per event. I mean, you see the old numbers on the chart there. So it's not a big number. So if that's the commission's desire, we'll see to it in the future.
Have we ever had security versus the policeman? I mean, someone who actually worked for the city as a security person
To my
there?
recollection, a city-sponsored
Regardless
look,
of who
Bike
sponsors
Fest is a
it.
city-sponsored event.
Oh, we're not
right?
gonna even
So
go
that's
there.
that's another animal. So let's just
Yeah.
let's talk about the typical city event is a smaller event that's a couple hundred people that typically know we have not had police coverage there.
I'm thinking like when you rent a building, resource center, Venetian Center, teen center, things like that where it would cause.
If there's alcohol, yes.
Okay.
If
so-
it's been a city event, we have not required the police to be there
Okay.
at any of the facilities, excluding Bike Fest.
Is this something that we could circle back and discuss? Because I too I'm just thinking this when you brought this up. I didn't know, I was at the chamber event. I didn't feel threatened or anything,
No.
but I walked behind the baseball field to get to my car, but I had someone to walk with me. But I'm just saying for safety reasons, if something were to happen, and I would not want to have a situation where we wait until something happens and then we react. Let's be proactive, we're just saying, because it's not safe all the time, not just with alcohol and non-alcohol, it's just people in general. I just don't think we should take chances. And I know at the resource center in the back of the parking area, it's very dark for when they have meetings walking around. People usually walk with a group to get to their car from leaving out. And I've experienced that as well. And I was like, So, I'm listening to you, but I had no idea. I had no problems at the event on Friday night, but I did have to walk behind to the baseball field, but I had someone to walk with me. So
I'm fine with staff bringing us something in the future,
Yeah.
but I think it's something we should discuss.
I'd like to.
I just want to clarify that I'm okay with the current policy, and I'd just like to give the police more discretion. Your example, any group can hire police anytime they want for an event. I just don't like all the mandating and all that. I think the policies work fine.
So is that, would that be a fee that you would, when
You will pay for it.
renting, you sign and pay for it yourself, and it's stated that if you need police there, you pay, okay.
And that's what started his comment.
Okay.
He thought they were supposed to prepay it. I think that's what started all this.
So, all right, that was all I have for the financial reports. Any city attorney items?
No, sir, nothing this evening, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
City manager items?
Nothing.
Roll call.
Commissioner Connell?
Nothing.
Commissioner Berry?
Yeah, one thing. Just in light of the vote tonight regarding fluoride, I'd like everyone to consider that once again, our city rights to choose, what we want to do are being eroded by Tallahassee. And we've talked about this in the past on different subjects, and everyone should just think long and hard about what's going on. And that's it.
Commissioner Peterson?
Nothing tonight.
Commissioner Berry?
Yes, I'd like to just remind everyone of the events that are coming up. The Men of Distinction presents the Black Heritage on the Black Tie Gala on February 28th at 7 p.m. And then we have Saturday, March 1st. There's a parade, I think, that we're participating in as a group. And then it's the the kickoff parade ends at Pine Street where they kick off the Black Heritage Festival. And then we have the VMAX production in which we are all participating in the modeling at Venetian Center at 7 p.m. And after that, if I'm not mistaken, it's an all-night excuse me, not all night, 8 to 12 fight party that's open to public for everyone to come and watch the boxing match afterwards. And I think that's being presented by the rec department, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, okay. So just a reminder to say, please come out and support a busy day, busy weekend. And I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Mayor Eastman.
Just one event, just a reminder of the Leesburg Arts Festival downtown. And then lastly, the County Commissioner Sabatini reached out to me, and I reached out to the city manager about this. The boys basketball team is going to states, and he asked if the city would be willing to put up some money to help the team with lodging, food, and they would match those funds. I did reach out to the school. It's a little over $5,000 for all the expenses in Airbnbs, transportation, and food. And I wanted to see if the city commission would be willing to help cover some of those costs for the boys basketball team to go to state.
Do you have an amount in your mind?
$2,500. And the county would also match up to $2,500 pending final expenses, but the county would match that as well, from my understanding.
It's really a school board expense, but I would support it. I'm excited about Leesburg and this trip to Lakeland. I would support it.
Do I need a motion?
Yeah, and I think there was some matching in there too, right? So whatever, I think the city of Eustis got involved there,
Yeah, the city of
potentially the
Eustis is doing
county.
it, and the county's doing
So
it.
I think the
Everything's doing
concept
it.
was is that if everybody kicks in, then it, we'll match equally. So it was up to $2,500.
The city commission okay with that? Okay.
I think we've done that in the past.
We have.
before, right?
Yeah, I talked to the city manager. He sent me a list. We've done that in the past.
Yeah, we did the band going to the Macy's Day Parade, special things like that.
So with that, I am finished. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
So moved. 6:43.
Thank you.